of station staff, management, and advertisers.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Busy news day. Yes, welcome. Happy all of you are here on a Thursday. Welcome to Pushing the Limits. Of course, part of the YouTube page at PTL Radio Show, pushingthelimits.live. We got a big show lined up for you today, coming up here in just a few minutes. My friend Adam Mockler from Midas Touch is going to be joining us. And actor extraordinaire. I grew up with this guy. The movie Mallrats is like a cult classic. He starred in that movie, of course. Party of Five, so many other movies he's done. Great guy. He's certainly on the right side politically, too. The actor Jeremy London's going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour. So Adam Mockler and Jeremy London going to be joining us. There's a lot of news to get to. We're also in the YouTube Super Chat where your questions and your comments can be heard. So Caroline Leavitt just held a press conference in the White House, looking visibly nervous when asked a lot of questions, of course, about the Jeffrey Epstein files. But I'll share this news with you to start if you haven't already heard. President Donald Trump was examined for swelling in his legs. He's been diagnosed with a chronic insufficiency disease. The White House has officially announced. Now, there are some people in the MAGA movement that are saying, you see, this is what transparency is all about. First of all, the only reason why they gave out this information, well, there's two reasons. Number one, the picture that was circulating online where you could see a big patch of Donald Trump's hand look ghostly white, and that went all over social media. So you have that picture that was released the other day. And then, of course, the Epstein files story. They want to be able to talk about something else. Donald Trump was desperate, talking about how they're putting sugarcane in Coca-Cola, which, by the way, turned out to be a lie. The people at Coca-Cola said that was a lie. He was desperate to try to turn the page and not talk about Jeffrey Epstein. So if there's anything that he would want to talk about now, in this case, his health, this would be the time to do it. So according to Caroline Leavitt and the White House, the 79-year-old underwent a comprehensive examination. I still don't believe they're being completely transparent on this examination. But what we do know is this has something to do with blood circulation. What we do know is this disease has something to do with his blood not getting to his legs and other parts of his body, which is painful and could be serious. That's what we know. So the idea that all of a sudden, Donald Trump is being and his administration are being transparent with the American people is an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. In this press conference, Caroline Leavitt announced that Donald Trump now refuses to recommend a special prosecutor in the Epstein case. Why would he do that? She said, quote, "That's how he feels." Didn't give any reasonable explanation for it. My question would be, what about the victims that are still waiting for justice? What about them? How about the voters out there who trusted that he would release the Epstein files? What about that? And then a reporter asked, what is stopping the administration from just redacting any sensitive information in the Epstein files and putting out what's appropriate? Caroline Leavitt's response, a judge would have to approve it. That's out of the president's control. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a lie. The president or the attorney general can easily request material be unsealed. Neither of them have done that. Caroline Leavitt and the Trump administration are once again lying to the American people. A judge does not have to approve it. That's a lie. You could see that Caroline Leavitt was visibly nervous in this press conference, maybe the most nervous she's ever been. Deflecting questions about Donald Trump's connection to Jeffrey Epstein. A reporter asked, does Trump have knowledge of what's in the files related to Epstein that has not been released? Caroline Leavitt said, not to my knowledge. Didn't say no, said not to my knowledge. Caroline Leavitt was also asked, is there any chance at all that Donald Trump could pardon Maxwell? She deflected and didn't even answer the question, ignored it, pretended like the question wasn't even asked. This was a visibly nervous Caroline Leavitt. We know that there are many in the Donald Trump orbit that are also visibly nervous. And now all of a sudden we're supposed to be led to believe, look at how transparent the Trump administration is. Why didn't the Biden administration release all of his health issues? It's an absolute joke, and it's an embarrassment, and it's a joke. And this comes at a time where there's a lot of people that are very upset about deportees that are being sent to this African nation, while more ICE agents are deporting nonviolent criminals all over the country. In many instances, ICE agents not even identifying themselves. And Donald Trump doesn't want us to talk about the Epstein files. He wants us to talk about Coca-Cola. Donald Trump doesn't want to talk to us about the Epstein files. He wants to talk to us about how everything is Joe Biden's fault. Everything is Barack Obama's fault. Everything is the deep state. But apparently all of Donald Trump's supporters are stupid. And I love it how some of these right-wing idiots out there now finally are starting, maybe even Nick Fuentes, by the way. I wouldn't really call Nick Fuentes a MAGA supporter per se. He's certainly a Nazi. But Marjorie Taylor Greenes of the world, the Lauren Boeberts of the world, the Laura Loomers of the world, many that have supported Donald Trump since day one are very angry and very frustrated. But why did it take them this long? That's the question that I ask these MAGA buffoons out there. Why did it take you this long to figure it out? Why did it take you this long to figure out the fact that Donald Trump is scum, that Donald Trump is a liar, that Donald Trump acts as the mob boss and he'll say and do anything to get what he wants? Why did it take so many of his supporters this long to figure it out that he doesn't care about you, that he's calling all of you stupid? He already got what he wanted from you. Why did it take you this long to figure it out? Now, listen, I'm not going to give all of you credit for finally admitting it, because there's still plenty of MAGA supporters out there that think Donald Trump is not in the Epstein files. So I ask you this very simple question. Then why? Why is Donald Trump acting so strange? Why does he not want you to talk about Epstein? Why won't he hire a special prosecutor? Why won't he release the files? Why is it that he doesn't want any of his supporters talking about it anymore? In fact, he's insulting all of you. He called y'all stupid. If you're still talking about Epstein, called y'all stupid. He said you were all duped by the Democrats. So why is he acting so strange? Why? Why is he acting so secretive? Why? I think those are very fair questions to ask, at least in my estimation. And I'm waiting for somebody within the MAGA movement that is still supporting Donald Trump to answer that very question. Why? There's only one reasonable explanation as to why Donald Trump has been acting so strange the last week when it comes to the Epstein files. There's only one reasonable explanation. It's because he's all over the files. And now Midas Touch has put out a report that apparently there was allegedly child trafficking that was happening at Mar-a-Lago, and Jeffrey Epstein was involved in that. Are we supposed to be led to believe that Donald Trump knew nothing about it? Are we supposed to blame Joe Biden and Barack Obama and the deep state for why Donald Trump was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, why there's so many pictures with Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein? There's only one logical explanation and reason why Donald Trump is not being forthcoming with the Epstein files and why he does not want any of his supporters talking about it anymore. And that reason is, ladies and gentlemen, he has something to hide. What do I think that is? I think he's all over the Epstein files. So to talk to us a little bit about this and much, much more, I actually appeared with Adam Mockler on the Piers Morgan show last week. That was a lot of fun. And right now, of course, from Midas Touch, it's always a pleasure having Adam Mockler join us on the program. Adam, it is good to see you, my friend, on a very busy news day. How you doing?
How you doing? Is my mic working? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Adam. How's it going, my friend?
It's going great. Thank you for having me on, man. You know, sorry for being a minute or two late, but I was just watching this Caroline Leavitt press conference.
Yeah.
And, oh, it's wild. She's straight up dodging questions about Epstein, but also Trump has a health condition that isn't incredibly severe, but it's worrying because this compounds on a bunch of other issues. But we did go on Piers Morgan together. That was so much fun. That was great.
That was, and I definitely want to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Let's start with the Caroline Leavitt presser, since that's what you're working on, and we were just talking about that. So, you know, this picture comes out of Donald Trump's hand, right, Adam, that you saw, like half his hand is all white, and clearly there's something going on there. But this picture came out a few days ago, and now all of a sudden Donald Trump doesn't want to talk about the Epstein files. So maybe this is also deflection. Otherwise, I don't think we would have ever learned about this. And I still don't think they're being very forthcoming, because I'm not a doctor. You're not a doctor, but it appears as though this has something to do with blood flow, to his legs and other parts of his body. I don't think they would have been talking about this unless they actually wanted to, or if this picture wasn't released. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Donald Trump would never willingly have a display of weakness where he talks about some sort of health issue or admits that he has chronic venous insufficiency, which is what it's called. So I do think it is a distraction. Not that he's faking it, but they're conveniently talking about this when they wouldn't otherwise. And my main point has been like, listen, health issues actually really scare me. I would never wish any health issue on my worst enemy. And what he has is rather common. But as I said earlier, when you look at this in the broader scope of his obvious cognitive decline, his inability to not yell at the camera about Epstein and Obama or whatever, it's worrying to know that the president also has other issues compounding, in my opinion.
Yeah, no question about that. And we're going to have to learn a little bit more about this. But, the White House doctor just did an interview and said Donald Trump has a really strong handshake. I mean, it's just the ass kissing from these people that work in the administration, really unbelievable. So Caroline Leavitt was asked, will Donald Trump be possibly pardoning Maxwell? Did you see that moment, Adam, where she completely ignores the question? And what are your thoughts on that?
I think that Caroline Leavitt she has to defend an indefensible position. I don't feel bad for her whatsoever. She's willing to do it, but Donald Trump goes out there and he can't stop himself from having inherently contradictory arguments, such as the files don't exist, but they do exist and they were written by Obama. They're all fake, but also my AG is doing a great job, even though she said that they existed. And then, he's giving all of these contradictory arguments, and Caroline Leavitt is being forced to walk out there and defend those arguments after. So honestly, I mean, if I were her, I would also glaze over that question. I wouldn't answer that question because it's not a good answer,
Right.
I think that,
That's true.
yeah.
That's true. Here's a blatant lie, Adam, in regards to what took place this morning.
Mhm.
A reporter asked Caroline, what's stopping the administration from just redacting any sensitive information and releasing part of the Epstein files that's appropriate? Her response, a judge would have to approve it. Adam, that's a blatant lie. The president and the attorney general can easily request material be unsealed. Does she think the American people are that stupid? That's a blatant lie.
Not only does she think that, but they seem to be banking on that. Like Trump is giving the laziest arguments for why this can't work. I already just pointed out all the contradictions, but for real, these arguments are so lazy. Like he's just phoning in at this point. Oh, the Epstein files hoax written by Obama. This is like something I would make up as a joke a few years ago. So yeah, just to bring it back, I think that they're trying to play the American people as fools. They're they're hoping Americans don't know the difference between the executive and the judicial branch. And in doing so, they want to con the American people. I want to know if were you surprised at seeing some MAGA figures pushing back? For example, I loathe Matt Walsh and everything he stands for, but I've been surprised. Matt Walsh has been pretty unwavering. Has that surprised you at all? Or
yeah, and there's plenty of other names, right? Nick Fuentes,
Yeah.
Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer never criticizes Donald Trump, but
No?
now I think she's being forced to. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think they probably have no choice, but I still think they're walking a fine line. Usually, what they'll do is, I still support the president through and through, but Mr. President, I think you're making a mistake here. It's never full on. And then there are those that are just standing by the president, like the Mark Levins and others. But, am I surprised? A little bit. I'm a little surprised that so many big names in the MAGA movement are upset at Donald Trump. So, yeah, I think I'm a little bit surprised. But then you have people like Charlie Kirk, who now all of a sudden are saying, I trust the government. Let's not talk about it anymore. So you have both. Let's be honest. It's not all the MAGA movement, and it's certainly not all the big names in the MAGA movement, but there are certainly some that have been speaking out against Donald Trump. And that does surprise me a little bit. Does that surprise you?
There have been a few times when I'm scrolling through Twitter and I'm like, damn, I didn't realize that this person was pushing back so hardcore over and over and over. I mean, for example, I think Matt Walsh was a good one. Nick Fuentes will break with them. I also love when they do downplay. I don't love it, but I hate when they downplay it too. They're like, listen, like you said, I agree with the president, but he's making a mistake here. Like, This isn't just like we've all made the mistake of covering up child sexual abuse. No one's made this mistake. This is not a mistake. This is vile. And honestly, I think a lot of these pundits, like you said, had no choice because it would kind of expose them as bought and paid for if they were just defending everything Trump said. Like it would become patently obvious.
And the argument, Adam, is right. Well, Joe Biden didn't release the files. First of all, Joe Biden didn't campaign on it. Okay.
Yep.
Donald Trump campaigned on the fact that he was going to release the files. They had a bunch of these morons like Jack Posobiec with these binders in Washington, D.C., making them look like the clowns that they already are. And Pam Bondi said she was going to do this at the directive of Trump. And I think what really happened here, Adam, is that Pam Bondi showed Donald Trump what's in these files. She showed him that he's probably in these files. He's probably all over the files.
Yep.
And then they had no choice but to not release them. That's what I think happened here. I don't even think Donald Trump knew he was in there. And I think Pam Bondi, is acting as, that's another thing. Okay. How stupid some of these MAGA people are is they want to put all the blame on Pam Bondi. She's just doing what Donald Trump is telling her to do.
Yeah. See, when it comes to Pam Bondi showing the files to Donald Trump, I actually do agree. I think she showed the files to Trump. They realized his name was littered throughout it because of how close he is with Epstein. But I also think that can be true. And she also overpromised. So they've kept like ramping up the amount of victims apparently and ramping up the amount of videos they have. And they were trying to create this atmosphere where like, hey, your favorite A-list Hollywood celebrities might be on this list. So she overpromised. And then when they actually got down to the reality, they're like, wait a minute. There's no Tom Hanks here, but there is Donald Trump. So this is going to be gravely disappointing to the vast majority of MAGA. So I think they're kind of hoisted by their own petard in this scenario. They're just being screwed by their own conspiratorial rhetoric, which is funny.
And a few other moments I just want to bring up with you with this press conference that you're covering, of course. We learned that Donald Trump is now refusing to recommend a special prosecutor. MAGA the last couple of days were saying, he's going to get a special prosecutor. Well, we learned that's not going to happen. And, the question was asked, does Trump have any knowledge of what's in the files? And Levette doesn't say no. She says, not to my knowledge. What do you make of that?
I think that they're all kind of here's the thing. I've had a lot of friends reaching out to me like, hey, what's Trump's play here? Is he distracting us from something? What is he distracting us from here? And I'm like, I actually think they're just dumb. Like they don't know how to maneuver this. Caroline Leavitt didn't know what to say in that situation. Trump doesn't want to appoint a special counsel or special prosecutor because of course, what would be uncovered would be very, very bad. In fact, they are actively firing the prosecutors who were involved in the Ghislaine and Epstein case. So it's quite the opposite of transparency.
Yeah, there's no question. It's the opposite of transparency. I have to ask you this because you and I both appeared on Piers Morgan. I do his show a few times a month, and it was great to have you on the panel. And you're eloquently pointing out facts when it comes to Epstein and Donald Trump's relationship with Epstein over the years. It's what you always do. You come with receipts. You back up your opinions with receipts and facts, which I appreciate. I try to do the same thing. And you and Jack Posobiec are going at it. And what does Jack do with the retort? He makes fun of your appearance. So I want to give you the opportunity because Jack does watch my stuff. I happen to know he does. What would you want to say to Jack Posobiec? Because I just thought it was just so disgusting and immature, and he has no facts to defend any of his opinions. What did you make of that moment? And what would you say to Jack?
I don't even care about it being immature or disgusting or juvenile. That didn't bother me. What really bothered me is how weak it was. Like I came with actual facts and this grown ass man had a weak response, no rebuttal. Listen, maybe he didn't do the show prep that day. Maybe he genuinely did not do the show prep and didn't have anything to say in response. That's kind of the vibe that I got. Like he didn't have enough prep to have a full rebuttal. So he tried to go to schoolyard insults. And it's like, I'm 22 years old and I didn't shave for a day. That's the best insult that you have, that I didn't shave this morning. It was uniquely weak. Honestly, he's kind of a low IQ individual. I'm just going to go for it. Like that's what Trump calls him. Whenever he speaks, it just does not sound captivating. It doesn't sound smart. He's going for low blows rather than actual facts. I mean, a high IQ individual wouldn't have been tricked into holding up the Epstein binders in the first place, literally duped into covering up the sexual abuse of children. So,
and isn't it interesting, Adam, that, I brought up also the close relationship at one time that Trump had with Epstein, and the 7 times he was on the flight log, for example. And his retort is, where are your sources? And I said, well, the Maxwell trial. And yet the guy that's asking for sources is the guy that started the Pizzagate scandal, right? This is the guy who that's how he became famous. He started this lie and conspiracy theory that was debunked. about Hillary Clinton running an underage, I don't know, nonsense with children in a basement of a pizza place. And he's asking us for receipts, which, by the way, we do come up with. What do you make of that? I mean, this is how this guy became popular within the right-wing movement, by spreading lies and conspiracy theories, similar to an Alex Jones, quite frankly.
Yeah. That was one of my talking points that I was going to use if I had the chance. I mean, his claim to fame in American politics was making up conspiracy theories about pedophilia. And now he's at like the core of a pedophilia conspiracy theory. It's dripping in irony. But again, this dude is just kind of opportunistic and a little bit dumb. Like I struggle to believe he truly understands I struggle to believe he's truly pissed off about the sexual abuse of children. Maybe he is. I think he's using this as like an opportunistic point to push conspiracy theories. Like he pushed, like you said, Pizzagate back in 2016. Then he jumps to another conspiracy theory. Then another conspiracy theory is like, do you even care about children? Or are you just trying to like leapfrog from conspiracy theories to boost your career? It's actually pretty disgusting. He's just like a talking head. It makes me feel more secure about my spot in the space, if that makes sense. I'm like, okay, this guy is friends with Charlie Kirk and has all these connections. I'm doing okay over here then. I'll be fine.
Yeah, at your age, having the following that you have is incredible. Like what? You have like 1.5 million plus subscribers on YouTube, which is quite an accomplishment. And by the way, you haven't done that by spewing lies and conspiracy theories. You're smart. You do your homework. You're very careful with what you say and factual. And that's the difference here. And, I guess Jack doesn't go with the personal insults with me anymore because I called him Bumble Jack. And if he ever goes that route with me, remember, this is the same guy who calls himself the wholesome Christian and such a family man, but yet this was the same guy while married who opened up a Bumble dating app account, lied about it, then admitted that it was him. So it's the playbook with these right wingers. They everything they do and everything they say, they do the opposite of it, and they're not the wholesome Christians that they claim that they are. I would imagine you get that a lot, where you get a lot of people that want to attack you for your age, which is so stupid. If anything, it shows you how intelligent you are for your age and mature you are for your age. But yet these MAGA morons like the Jack Posobiec's, they want to go after you. They think they could take advantage of the fact that you're some just dumb kid in his early 20s, which clearly you're not.
I actually love when people try to do that. First of all, you also killed it on Piers Morgan. That was really good. And thanks for sticking up for me when Jack started to go off the deep end. That was great. That was a really good experience. And it was not
that you need me to do that, by the way. You're far smart enough to do it yourself, but I couldn't hold back with him because he's such a douchebag.
Your punches were perfect. You had it. You landed them perfectly. And it was a really good formative moment for my career. So I'm glad we got to share that together. Relating to your question, sorry, what did you say one more time?
Just your age, people like Jack and others, they think they can talk down to you because you're in your early 20s when your IQ level is probably triple what theirs are. I mean, I'm sure you get that a lot from a lot of people on social media. They want to attack you because you're in your early 20s.
Yeah. So there's a few ways that I've used it either to my advantage or sometimes it hurts. So to my advantage, having a little bit of a baby face allows me to kind of Trojan horse it. So when Jack probably saw me on that panel, he's like, who's this 16-year-old kid, even though I'm 22 years old, but he's probably like, who's this random kid? It allows me to Trojan horse in there and actually have better talking points than people expect. When I go to the MAGA rallies, I'd like to think that me being a young white dude with a, baby face almost also disarmed them. So I used my age to my advantage there. I find it hilarious when these dumb MAGA freaks try to use my age as some sort of like a jab, and then they show themselves as clueless right away, like immediately after. There's also times where my age works against me. Like say I'm trying to get on an MSNBC panel, they're always going to choose the national security expert over the 22-year-old with no college degree. So it can be a double-edged sword, but overall I try to use it to my advantage like that.
I don't think I've ever asked you this. Is there ever a point where you think one day you might run for office yourself?
I'm not interested in that, actually. I really like the media space. And to be 100% candid, like I've been thinking about this a lot over the past few days. Every time I've seen an influencer try to run for office, it doesn't go well. Like the influencer campaigns, a lot of times they over-index on being online. I wouldn't do that. I would run the campaign right, but I don't think I'm actually going to ever run. I have a lot more interest in being in the media space, and I like doing this a lot.
Exact same answer that I give when people ask me that. And they've asked me that a lot over the years. I don't want to run for office either. Adam, you got to keep doing what you're doing, my friend, and I know you will. It's why you're so successful. I cannot wait to get on a Piers Morgan panel with you again. That was a lot of fun. And we are going we are going to do that again because they asked me on a lot, and I certainly want you on there with me. And that was a lot of fun, and always appreciate you coming on, my friend. We'll let you get back to work. I know you got a lot to do. It's a very busy news day, but love what you do, my friend, and can't wait to have you on again down the road, Adam. Keep up the great work, my friend.
Thank you, man. Let's keep ripping it. And I can almost guarantee Trump's going to melt down about Epstein within the next 3 hours. So we'll have some news to cover.
Maybe he'll talk about sugarcane and Sprite today. I don't know. I don't know.
He can't stop himself from talking about this. Thanks, man. It's been
all
great.
right. Thanks, Adam. Have a good one. Adam Mockler, everybody. He is fantastic over with Midas Touch. And he, at his age, at 22, to be able to have accomplished what he's accomplished, I just think it's so impressive. There's a reason for that, though. He's really smart. He's really good at what he does. And when I was asked to do the Piers Morgan show again last week, he was one of the requests that I give. I give a few people. I say, hey, can you get him on? Can you get him on? And I'm so glad they had Adam join me on that panel, man, because it was fun ganging up on Jack Posobiec because he's an utter douchebag. All right, so from one friend to another, I admire Adam Mockler a lot. I watched him over the course of the last several years. He's been doing my show for a couple of years. I knew he would be the star that he is, and he's going to continue to keep doing what he's doing. Here's another guy that I've become friends with. Now, I grew up with him. Obviously, the movie Mallrats is a cult classic. Who doesn't know the movie Mallrats? This guy starred in that movie. Also, Party of Five. He's done so many great films over the years. But I had him on because if you remember the Democrat National Convention, let's go back to the Democrat National Convention for a moment, several months back. Do you remember Tim Walz's son crying because he loves his dad and he's a special needs kid? And there were people on the right that were mocking him, and it was just despicable stuff. So the guy we have right now, Adam London, okay? Adam, I'm sorry, did I say Adam London? Jeremy London, I'm sorry. Adam London is a magician in Las Vegas. I don't know why I said Adam London, Jeremy London. So Jeremy's grandson is a special needs child, and Jeremy put up this really emotional video about his grandson and how angry he was at the way they were treating Tim Walz's son. So I had him on because that video went viral, and I've become friends with him. And luckily, Jeremy, is on our side politically, and I always love having him on. Jeremy, it's so good. I don't know why I called you Adam, by the way. That was weird. Jeremy, it's good to have you on, my friend. How are you?
It's quite all right, man. I love Adam, and I've been called Jason so many times that I think being called Adam's a kind of it's refreshing. It's new.
Well, we'll call you Jeremy today.
Thanks.
I appreciate you being here, my friend, as always.
Thanks for having me back, brother. I'm always glad to be here.
You bet. For years, we've heard from the far right that all the pedophiles are in Hollywood. All the pedophiles are all the actors in Hollywood and all this other nonsense. And now it appears as though Donald Trump has something to hide. I want to know what you make of this Jeffrey Epstein story, because day by day, it seems like Donald Trump is getting more and more. He's losing his mind more and more about this, and he doesn't want to talk about it. What do you make of this story? And is it kind of, in your face to MAGA that you've been calling liberals in Hollywood the pedophiles, yet it seems like the guy who you voted for is actually the pedophile?
He doth protest too much. It's classic. Trump just trying to pull the wool over everybody's eyes. I think, luckily, even as deplorable as some of them can be, the people, I think they genuinely do have a red line. There's a red line, right? And whenever it comes to this Jeffrey Epstein case, this has been their main platform for so long, and there's so much history and footage of that can come back and bite them in the ass, and so they know it, and so they're stuck now, like Charlie Kirk having to backpedal again. They just know now that this is something that they truly is a path. You either split from that, or you support a child molester, and you simply don't care. And what we're finding out is that there is an enormous amount of people out there that don't care, that truly don't care about, because it's Trump doing it, and only because it's Trump doing it. Literally, if it was anybody else in that camp, it would probably, they would make a bigger deal of it. But because it's Trump, they know that the king will have their heads chopped off if they don't bow and kiss the ring, and it's
Jeremy,
embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It is. Jeremy, can you imagine, just hypothetically for a moment, if Barack Obama was best friends with a child predator like Jeffrey Epstein and was seen at parties with Jeffrey Epstein and videos joking around with Jeffrey Epstein, and that Jeffrey Epstein called at one point Barack Obama his best friend? And I mean, can you imagine what the right would be doing with this?
Yeah, I can. We all know what they would be doing, but I can't imagine it. And I'll tell you why. Because Bill Clinton is in that mix. And if the difference is, and I liked Bill Clinton. I made a lot of money whenever Bill Clinton was in office. So I should be like, if I go by the same standards that they go by, and they're all going by money, and they think that's what's important, so they worship Trump because of the money thing, then I should not care. I should want Bill to be protected. But if he's in there and they find out that he did something wrong, he deserves to be punished just like everybody else.
Right. Correct.
We don't have these biases on our side that make us say that, maybe some kids were being diddled, but, it was our guy doing it, so it's okay. Like, what makes that, just why? I think that ultimately it just comes down to people just not being able to grasp that they've been duped and that they've been wrong for so long. That's why, I texted, I tweeted that I think this is the time that we do have to, as tough as it is, we do have to kind of embrace people that are trying to break from that maggot train and do it in a way that's not constantly having to shove in their face, oh yeah, but you support this and support that. And let them unfold all of this themselves, because it will happen it's slowly. The ones that will stick with him are always going to stick with him. We're always going to stick with him. They don't matter because they are deplorable.
And you're right. And Jeremy, I get calls every day from MAGA supporters. And when I ask them, what are you happy with the first 5 or 6 months? They always go to immigration. Oh, I'm so happy he's deporting all these people. Now, let me be very clear on this. Let's talk about alligator Alcatraz for a moment, or whatever they're calling it. If you had a bunch of violent criminals or people that were like a Jeffrey Epstein, let's just say convicted pedophiles, I would have no problem with them going to this crocodile Alcatraz or whatever they're calling it. But we know that more than half the people that are in there right now are non-violent criminals. They came into this country. Yeah, they might be undocumented. They've never committed a serious crime in their life or a violent crime. I want those people here. Yet these are the people that are being round up and sent to these types of prisons or El Salvador. And these MAGA Republicans who were lucky enough, many of them, to be born in this country, are okay with treating non-violent human beings that way. I find it so repulsive, Jeremy.
Okay, so as somebody who had a stepson who has been in the prison system, and that's why I was raising the grandbaby, he was some stuff he was dealing with before I ever even knew his mama. I can tell you that our prison system is broken, period. So I don't support an alligator Alcatraz for anybody. I don't care if you're the worst of the worst in our country. You deserve due process. Right. There's no situation where a concentration camp is okay in the United States of America. There is no situation to where, look at what they did to the Japanese in World War II after, you know what I mean? They rounded them up because they were Japanese, whether they, they had assimilated to American standards. They were living as Americans. They were Americans. And the people that, people are losing sight of what it means to be American. Read what's on the thing in the Statue of Liberty. Read what's on its page. The huddled masses yearning to be free. The people that just want to give better lives to their children and their families. This was that beacon on the hill. This is where you would strive to come to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what are we saying to the rest of the world and history? And what kind of a representation, or what are we doing in honor of all of our forefathers and the people before us that fought and died to give us these rights and to make this nation the great nation it is?
Yeah. I think that's
spitting in the face of everybody that has made this country what it was.
Yeah, it breaks my heart, Jeremy. It breaks my heart when I see these families ripped from one another outside of courtrooms in front of a Home Depot. We see stories of mothers who have lived in this country for decades. Yes, they might not have the proper paperwork, but they're hard workers. They're nonviolent criminals. I want people like that to be here.
How's somebody that is showing up for immigration court breaking the law? How are they breaking the law? They're literally, by definition, doing exactly what they were told they were supposed to do it the right way. And so every time some idiot says, if they just come in the country the right way, they're just lying. They don't care. I don't understand what happened to the heart, the empathy, the soul of people that have become so disassociated with kindness and it's like this. The woman. There's a video of the woman in Texas who was so vile about the immigrants and that they deserve to get what they want. And then she lost her home or something during the floods now. And now she's making videos about, oh, how come they're not coming to help us? All this stuff, you know what I mean? Even though the videos of her before that were all like, they don't deserve help. Nope, they're scum. They're lazy, blah, 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 this and that and the other. Nope, they don't deserve any kind of assistance whatsoever. Basically, they deserve to die. And then she lost her home in the flood, and people that she knew were losing their homes, or kids in that poor camp, that bad, that sad camp flood. And so there's videos of her crying and where's the help? Where's the? And that's what I'm talking. It's good for me, but not for thee. It's all for me, but not for thee.
What do you think's going to happen? I agree with you. What do you think's going to happen when 15 million people lose their Medicaid coverage because of this awful bill that Trump calls the big, beautiful bill? You have $10 billion that's going to be taken away from food stamps. A lot of people are going to not be able to use the food stamps that they desperately need to survive. I mentioned Medicaid, the biggest tax breaks for the top 1%. A lot of these people are going to be in Donald Trump's base, and they're going to lose their health care coverage. What is it going to take for them to finally wake up? I know some of them are when it comes to the Epstein files not being released, but there's still people that are going to remain in Trump's corner.
I'll tell you what will happen. They will blame Joe Biden, period. It's that simple. Or they will blame Obama. It doesn't matter what happens during this nightmare tenure of a presidency. Nothing good is going to come out of it. But regardless of whatever happens, it's always going to be somebody else's fault. It's always going to be Joe Biden's fault. It's always going to be Obama's fault or Comey's fault. All this ridiculous. The good thing is that now it's getting so old. He has said the same thing over it so many times that now even his own base is starting to go, okay, come on, man. Like, even we know that this happened during your first term with Epstein. We know that Barr was the AG. Like, come on, man. Like, how stupid do you think? I mean, and that Hillary Clinton's going to put her own husband on that list? Really?
And here's what I think happened, Jeremy, and you could tell me whether you agree or not. I think Donald Trump didn't really know what was in the files. I think Pam Bondi had to sit down with Donald Trump, explain to him what was in the files. I think he's all over the files. It's not even that I know he's in these files. There's no other logical reason why he wouldn't release them, and he doesn't want anybody, because his behavior is so weird the last week. And I think he got that information and he told Pam Bondi, all right, we can't do this. He's not going to hire a special prosecutor. He just wants this story to go away. So much so that he's putting out Truth Social tweets about how there's sugarcane now in Coca-Cola, which, by the way, was also a weird lie. Coca-Cola says it's not true. But he's trying to do everything and anything he can, even admit to the American people that he has a health issue, just to try to.
Those swollen ankles are getting to his brain, whatever the hell's going on with that.
He's
clearly desperate. He's clearly desperate, man. And that's why, one of my favorite memes is the whole thing about, we're going to destroy, number one, destroy the Republican Party. Number two, sit back and just watch. We don't have to do a damn thing. They're doing it themselves. We knew they would do it themselves. They're narcissists and not smart ones at that. And so this was never going to end well because there was no forethought on any of this. Like, they don't understand that that Trump has a shelf life. Like, at some point, like, this is going to be over, and these people are going to have to pay for what they're doing. There's going to be tribunals, and there's going to be comeuppance. The chickens always come home to roost, man. How do they think that? Do they think he's going to be the president forever? I don't understand.
Some of them do. I think they're that stupid. Some of them do. Can you imagine what's going through Dan Bongino's mind, or Ash Patel's mind, knowing that they've talked about the Epstein files for years? They have to know now that Donald Trump is in those files. How do they even look at themselves in the mirror? Like, they have to know.
You listen, man. At the bottom of what people have, the faces that we see on TV and on YouTube and all of this stuff. Those are the brave. That's the bravado. That's the people stunting for their dear leader, or whatever. But behind the scenes, like, people are they're losing their minds. They don't know how to process all this, and I find it thoroughly enjoyable to watch. I mean, there's the Schadenfreude is definitely enjoyable. It's funny. The Nick Fuentes thing cracks me up. I mean, the dude does not deserve to be platformed. He should have gone away a long time ago. But it is hilarious, though. It is funny to watch.
I did watch that video earlier today, and I was thinking
it's so fun.
Where he's saying "F you," "you're a fatty," and all this other stuff. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Laura Loomers. The problem with so many of these MAGA people now is they have egg on their face. Even Charlie Kirk was forced by, I'm sure, Donald Trump and others, because this is how he gets paid, to say, all right, let's just trust the government now. Let's not talk about this. You have Don Jr., his own son, who said release the Epstein files. You have J.D. Vance, not even that long ago, that went on a podcast and said, yeah, we have to release this Epstein list, basically all in his cult. And then Alex Jones is losing his, what. Some of the biggest talking heads on the MAGA right have now put their foot in their mouth for Donald Trump. And I'm wondering what will happen next. I can't imagine this story is just going to go away. The Democrats
it's literally going to go. Sorry, it's going to go in the direction of the gravy train, period. It's going to go if they're going to make more money by jumping off the train, and then that's where they're going to go. If they're going to make more money by staying on the train, then that's where they're going to go, because they have no souls and they have no self-respect and real dignity. And so most of this is performative right now. And so it's all very temporary. This is all those kind of sort of so they can go back and claim ignorance and be like, oh, dude, hey, listen, man, I wasn't happy about that. You can go back and see, but ultimately, are they going to ditch all? No, they're too invested.
Jeremy,
and they're horrible people.
And I agree, Jeremy. This is one of the few times that I can recall where a lot of MAGA Republicans and liberals and Democrats agree, which is release the files. It shouldn't matter who's in the files if you have an R or a D next to your name. Listen, if Bill Clinton is in there, which I don't know if he is, if he was, I want him held to the highest extent of the law. Obviously, I feel the same way about Donald Trump, whether they're Democrats or Republicans. And I would like to believe there's probably people on both sides of the aisle that are in these files. Jeffrey Epstein knew a lot of Republicans and Democrats. So we agree to a whole, for the most part, that these files need to be exposed and released, and let the cards fall where they're may. But I don't think it's going to happen. At least it's not going to happen in the next 3.5 years if Donald Trump remains the president of the United States. Which
I think this is the issue, and I think Stephen King hit a chord on the whole. I think Stephen King tried to be funny in his tweet, talking about it being like the list being like the Easter Bunny and all that. I think that is there an actual list of saying, yeah, this guy's a kid screwer, this guy's a kid screwer, there's not an actual list, but there's a history of molesters, and that is the list. That history of abusers is the list. And so there's all these people that are being super literal about there being like a list, like there's this like specific list. What we were told is there were videos, and there were all these other records, right, of things. Is there just a list that has a thing? Yeah, this guy's a kid screwer, this guy's a kid screwer, this guy. There's not that, probably. And I think that's probably where Stephen King was coming from, even though it was very poorly timed. I think that still there is clearly a record of the people that were there because he's protecting something so he's so messed up about all of this and wants to bury it so hard that it just screams guilt. And that goes back to the he does protest too much. Every time, if he would have just kept his mouth shut from the jump, and made, said, I don't know anything about all that stuff. Whatever it is what it is. And they're saying now there's not, whatever it is, I don't really. But the whole 400 word screeds and calling his people stupid and all that. That's what's going to work in our favor. That's why we can just sit back and let it happen.
I have to ask you this, Jeremy. Like, if you got a phone call tomorrow for a Martin Scorsese movie, and you had to do a movie with like a James Woods or like Chachi or like I don't know, any of these buffoons on the far right, because I do think James Woods is a complete buffoon. Would you be able to do that? Would you be able to work with a guy like that?
Martin Scorsese?
Well, yeah. Scorsese's great. Listen, I'm just giving that. Scorsese's great, but I'm saying, would you be able to work every day with a guy like a James Woods, some of these big MAGA morons? And if you had to,
not if it was, because I can't tell you how many. I've turned down a lot of Kevin Sorbo movies. I've gotten offered a lot of those religious Kevin Sorbo, and I've done like one or two of them before for politics and all that back in the day. They were terrible. But I've been offered a lot more since, and with Dean Cain and all these, and I won't do those. If it's a big movie that has a large cast, and those guys just happen to be part of the cast, then I have no issue. We're actors. We go to work. I try not to make that about politics. If the project is about politics and all of that stuff, and it's got all that, and I literally turned down a movie that was going to pay me quite a bit of money. But in the movie, I had to talk about how great Donald Trump was, and I told them to shove it up their ass. I was like,
all right. I love that answer. I love that answer. Let me put you in a peculiar spot here. Let's just say Scorsese, who I love, by the way, is directing a movie, Casino 2. And your co-stars in the movie would have to be Dean Cain, James Woods, and Chachi. Would you do it?
Yeah, because it's Martin Scorsese, but that's the only reason. I mean, and it's going to get, destroyed by it would get absolutely bent over from the judge. There's no way that's ever going to come out of with critical success. And so I would literally be doing it to be there with Scorsese. But I would, I think that there's always some power to being the bigger person in the room too,
What happened to these people? Jeremy, what happened to Chachi? What happened to James Woods? Obviously, James Woods is a great actor. He's been in some wonderful movies. What happened to these people? Because I don't remember before the MAGA. I knew they were all Republicans, but
the truth is that Republicans being a Republican didn't used to mean being so repugnant. Donald Trump brought out the ugly in people. And so before the Trump era, people just didn't care about politics, man. They just truly didn't, as not even remotely as much as they do now, And so people could be on the opposite side of politics and you would never know it. You would never know it, because people didn't talk about it. And so back then it just simply didn't matter. But what Donald Trump has done is he's held a mirror up to people that has revealed their true colors. And then it's like they feel like they have to stoop as low as he does, I guess, to be part of the club, I guess, if that makes sense.
Did you know that, I didn't know 10 years ago that, a Dean Cain was such a douche, a far-right douche. I didn't know that James Woods 10 years ago, I knew he was a Republican.
He played Rudy Giuliani in a movie. I knew about James Woods, and plus he has a history in Hollywood, trust me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're in the industry.
Yeah, James Woods has always been a douchebag, but a lot of people just also, Chachi, this is the most attention he's gotten in 30 years. There's a reason he's doing it. He needed the publicity.
He makes his appearances on Jesse Waters looking like a clown.
What else has he done? That dude needed to be a part of something.
That's very, very true. What you just said.
And he's willing to. And some people are willing to see. I mean, look, Do I need to be a part of something and more money? Yeah, hell yeah. Am I willing to sell my soul in the process to do it though? Absolutely not.
No,
Because I
and that's
do have children and grandchildren, and they are going to grow up and they're going to look back and they're going to say, what was my papa like? What was he? Who was he as a person? And how did he treat other people?
see, and you
And
care about that.
yeah,
You
and do
care.
I want to be like him? I want to be like my papa. Do I want to be like him, or do I want to be the opposite? Because I've got family members that I'm the way that I am because I vowed to be different. I vowed to be the opposite of, you know,
I admire that
and
about you.
break those cycles.
Yeah, I definitely admire that about you a lot. And you look at the Republican National Convention; they have Hulk Hogan, Kid Rock, and Dana White, the wife beater. So this is who they have. You know, these are
Because those people are used to appealing to redneck idiots.
Yeah.
They know their audience. Listen, man, the one thing these people are not is stupid. And they know they know where their bread is buttered. And they know that literally they're appealing to the dumbest people on the planet. And so how do you come at them? You come at them with guns and babies and whatever. The dumb thing, the meme of the moment is, but none of them mean any of it.
Yeah.
None of them mean any of it. All of
You're
these baby lovers don't give a damn about our kids in schools getting shot up or being raped on an island. And so it's all BS. It's all performative, WWF, WWE. That's all Trump is a performer. And he stacks the cast behind him the same way. It's all scripted nonsense. And whenever the script isn't going his way, as it is not right now, because he doesn't like to be the heel. He doesn't want to be the heel. He wants to be the hero. Always.
You're right about that. You're right about that, Jeremy. 100%. I agree with what you said.
Yeah.
For people, before I let you go, Jeremy, for people that don't even know, Jeremy's not only a great actor, he's also quite the artist. Like I've seen some of his artwork that he sells. I'm just still waiting for my self-portrait, Jeremy. That's all. I'm just waiting.
Hey, man. I'm ready, boss.
We're going to have to work something out. But hey, can you tell
we'll work it out.
Where do they go? Like, because you're like a really good artist. Where do people go that because I saw a picture, I guess this is pretty cool. I guess a woman had bought one of your paintings for her husband's birthday, who happens to be a big fan of yours.
Yes.
And she posted it. I just thought that was so cool. You know, it's such a great gift to give somebody.
Thank you so much.
Where do people go, Jeremy, to find that artwork and purchase it?
Find me on Twitter at Sir Jeremy London. That is the best way. Or on Blue Sky at Sir Jeremy London. That's really the best place to see my art because that's kind of the only thing I post on Blue Sky. I post so much other stuff on Twitter, so it might be kind of hard to find my art in all the mix of all of it, even though I'm pumping out 5-6 paintings a week, so I'm up to, I started about a year and a half ago. I'm up to 180. I just filled my 180th order. So it's, I stay busy, but awesome. I love it. And I'm getting better and better at it. This is one of my little things, one of my dudes back there kind of hanging out. And I just, I need to get a website and all of that going, but I just don't. I kind of haven't had to so far. I've been able to kind of keep this thing going on Twitter and Blue Sky and Facebook and all of that. But yeah, Sir Jeremy London. And we're always bantering, doing the political thing. I try to keep it as humorous as possible, but I gotta still stand for something. I want to be a voice in this movement.
And you are. And by the way, if you ever do a self-portrait of Donald Trump in a Klan outfit, I will put it behind me for the entire show. Okay, I will do that.
Really?
put a white hood on Donald Trump with his little hands, and I'll put it behind me. I promise you. I will do it.
Don't dare me. Don't tempt me with a good time, buddy.
Jeremy, you're the best, man. I love having you on. We'll have you on again soon, brother.
Always enjoy it, my friend. Always.
Thank you, Jeremy. Always love you. Regards to your brother as well, who I'm a fan of.
Thank you, my friend.
And I will talk to you soon, Jeremy. Have a great weekend, you and your family. Okay.
Thank you, boss. Have a good one.
Thanks, Jeremy. There you go, everybody. That's Jeremy London. That was a fun interview. And by the way, that was a real question that I asked him. If Scorsese's want you in a movie with Chachi, James Woods, Dean Cain, would you do it? Because Scorsese's such a great director, I don't blame him for doing it. Jeremy London, everybody, he is the best. So I do have some audio I want to play for you. And I already reviewed what took place with Caroline the lying bitch Levette earlier today. It was a joke, and she looked extremely nervous trying to answer all these Epstein questions. But I just want to play you some more buffoonery, if I may. And I really didn't get into this yesterday, but I want to get into it right now. If we can. Can we play some audio now? Is that okay? All right, here's what we're going to do. We'll take a break first. My producer's telling me that we need to take a break. So here's what we're going to do. Why I believe Donald Trump not only is in the Epstein files, but why he also has Alzheimer's. We'll play that for you when we come back. One of the dumbest Republicans in office actually is right here in Nevada. He did a national interview yesterday. You're not going to believe in the bill that he voted for, what it means for gamblers. It's absurd. We have that audio for you that we are going to play as well. And Navarro still going on with the 90 deals in 90 days, but it's changed a little bit. We'll also take some phone calls on the other side after the audio. 702-221-7283. And again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-7283. We'll have that audio to play for you when we come back. Why I think Donald Trump has Alzheimer's and he's in the bunker. We'll play that for you next. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie?
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Thursday. Programming note for you. They're the opposite of Turning Point USA. They're called the Un-F American Movement Tour, and the organizers that go across the country, anti-Charlie Kirk, anti-everything that they are trying to do at Turning Point, the Un-F Tour they are on. The organizers of that will be joining us in studio tomorrow. Destiny is actually a part of that group. Oh, and guess who else is joining us tomorrow? Yes, he is a fan favorite on PTL, and he's also part of the Un-F America movement. Robbie Roadsteamer will be joining us back on the show tomorrow. He's a fan favorite. Robbie was at the Turning Point USA event last week. He was a Guantanamo Gator. I think that's what he was. Wasn't that what he was? Gary the Guantanamo Gator. I think that's who he was. We're going to play that for you. And yes, Robbie Roadsteamer is going to be joining us back on the show tomorrow. And the organizers of the Un-F America Tour are going to be joining us in studio as well. Nicole Mitchell is going to be joining us tomorrow. So we got a jam-packed show tomorrow. Great guest, obviously, today. My thanks to Adam Mockler from Midas Touch. He is great. I hope I get on another Pierce Morgan panel with him because that was a lot of fun ganging up on Jack Posobiec, Bumble Jack. And, of course, we just had Jeremy London from Mallrats and Party of Five. I love Jeremy. He's great, and I'm lucky to call him a friend. He's a great guy. And Adam, too. Adam's a friend as well. So being in this business, you get to make friends with some awesome people. So I feel very privileged for that. So I didn't talk a lot about this yesterday. I think Donald Trump has Alzheimer's. I think he's in the bunker. Because you see, he was complaining about Jerome Powell yesterday, and he was asked if he's considering firing Jerome Powell. Have a listen to this.
People want to buy a house. He's a terrible Fed chair. I was surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that Biden put him in and extended him, but they did. So, no, we're not planning on doing anything. We're very concerned. He's doing a little renovation for $2.5 billion of the Fed.
Geez, how did that guy get appointed? Geez, I don't know. Maybe because you appointed him, you idiot. You orange orangutan rapist, you. You're the one who put him in that position back in 2017, you moron. Do you not know that? Do you not remember, you buffoon? It's funny. Imagine if Joe Biden had done that. Just close your eyes for a moment and forget that you're, trailer trash Trump supporter. Try to just close your eyes for a moment and pretend that you're an educated person. I don't know. Imagine if Joe Biden appointed somebody to the Fed chair, then years later complained about him, said that he wanted to fire him, and said, boy, how did that guy get appointed? You mega morons would be calling him in the bunker, senile Joe Biden for months. Guess what? Your orange orangutan rapist did that yesterday. You frickin' turds, you. I don't usually talk a lot of local politics on this show, because usually I don't care. But this is a national story. So Mark Amadei, who's a complete right-wing moron, who I've actually had run-ins with before, refused to do this show, actually voted to pass a bill that taxes you if you break even in a casino. I'm not making this up. If you break even in a casino, say you hit a $5,000 jackpot and then you lose $5,000 at the blackjack table, Mark Amadei voted for a bill that would say you still have to pay taxes on the money you won on the slot machine, even though you lost it at the blackjack table, which obviously is insane. And even Mark Amadei agrees. And on CNN, he's caught because he's saying, well, wait a second, you voted for this bill, and this is what's in the bill. Listen to this jackass who's supposed to represent people in Nevada, who is a complete clown. Listen to this exchange.
In this tax and spending bill, which just was signed into law and you voted for, there are tax changes regarding gambling. Now, it's a little bit complicated to explain, but basically it means if you go and gamble for a full day, and you break even at the end of the day, which is a pretty good day for a lot of gamblers, you're still taxed. You're still taxed on your winnings. So starting January of 2026, breaking even is losing. Do you support
Absolutely
that measure?
right. Absolutely right, except that was put in the Senate. I did not vote for that. Nobody from Nevada in the House voted for that. So now the question when it comes back is, how do we fix that? And so we moved the bill because on balance, but I can assure you that I expect the Senate through the unanimous consent process, and if not, we've already introduced a bill and working across the aisle with Dina Titus to get that fixed. You shouldn't be taxed on income that wasn't really income, regardless of who you are.
But sorry, didn't you vote to pass this bill after it came back from the Senate?
I voted to pass it back because it had that in it, but I wasn't going to kill the whole bill over something that we think we can fix. So, if your question is, do I support that provision? No.
But you did vote to pass. It wasn't enough to keep you from passing the bill?
Correct.
Yeah, I don't agree with this. We need to go back and we need to work on it, but I'm going to pass the bill anyway because I wear the Donald Trump knee pads and I can't vote against a bill that Donald Trump tells me to vote for. That's really who Mark Amadei is, another right-wing slimeball idiot. And these are his constituents in Nevada, the gambling capital of the world, Las Vegas. So I could go into a casino now and win $10,000 at the blackjack table, lose $10,000 on a slot machine, but I still have to pay taxes on that money that I won, even though I broke even? Now, that wouldn't make any sense to anybody, and it doesn't even make any sense to Mark Amity, but because he's such a slimeball and a crooked moron mega cultist, he still voted for this bill. Oh, well, we'll go back in there and we'll see if we could work with Dina Titus and a Democrat. These idiots. Speaking of idiots, Peter Navarro. Remember Peter Navarro was the guy that said 90 deals in 90 days? Well, he's on with Bartiromo yesterday, and now he's skipping the deals, and now they've moved to just sending out letters to people. Listen to what this idiot, Peter Navarro, said on Fox Business yesterday.
Real quick, Peter, how many more deals would you expect on trade in the coming month?
Well, look, I want to make this really clear. We've got a bunch of deals right now, but a lot of them are unilateral because we had to send letters to people. And the problem, Maria, is they have such a good deal screwing America, let me be blunt about it, that they're reluctant. But we've got over 90% of the trade deficit covered with letters or deals right now. We're in a good place. Trust in Trump. He's going to get it done, and the American people are going to have trillions of dollars in tax cuts and debt reduction because of that. Let's never lose sight of the fact of that.
Well, we just had a budget surplus for the month of June, so there's that, thanks to tariff revenue. Peter, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Always a pleasure.
Good to see you, Peter. I noticed that she didn't bring up the fact that inflation is up in almost every category. And I noticed that, this was the guy who said 90 deals in 90 days, but we're in a good place because Donald Trump sent out letters. You know how stupid that is? Yeah, I mean, there was a while there that I wanted to marry Jessica Alba. So if I sent a letter to Jessica Alba saying that I wanted to marry her, does that mean we're married? No, she would laugh at me and she would, I would imagine, rip up the letter. That's what a lot of these world leaders are doing, and that's what they think of Donald Trump. It's so absurd and ridiculous. Like if I write a letter to the bank saying I want a $50,000 loan, does that mean I'm getting the loan? No. Of course not. It's just absolutely ridiculous, but that's what Peter Navarro would like to lead some of you MAGA morons to believe because some of you are so stupid. Yes, you are. Most of you in Donald Trump's base are very stupid people. You're very dumb. You're not smart. You're uneducated. You're ill-informed. You watch your Newsmax and your OAN and your Fox Noise, and that's where you get your sources from. You're all a bunch of morons. And then speaking of morons, Representative Andrew Clyde, this is the a-hole who after a school shooting wears an AR-15 pin. This is the guy who wears the AR-15 pin after a bunch of kids are dead. This is the same guy who owns a bunch of gun stores and said January 6th was a tourist visit. Yes, he did say that. Listen to this man when asked about Donald Trump's tariffs. Oh, yeah, by the way, the American consumer are the ones that are paying for it. And when they brag about all the revenue that the government's making, they're making it from American consumers that are paying for it. And listen to Andrew Clyde kiss Donald Trump's ass when asked about this.
Congressman, what are your thoughts on the pace of this trade and tariff executive orders and the way that it's impacting the economy right now?
Well, I think our president has been the best trade negotiator in the entire history of the United States. This is a man that wrote The Art of the Deal, and he definitely has shown that he knows how to make a deal and make a deal that is good for this country. I mean, we have seen, inflation at 2.1% core inflation.
That's right.
Which literally going back to the first Trump era. This man knows what he's doing, and I trust him. So I think this is going to be good for America.
Yeah, he thinks it's going to be good for America. By the way, inflation was up, the latest report in June. So he's lying about that, Andrew Clyde is. And the art of the deal he just talked about. So the art of the deal is sending letters to world leaders. That's a deal. A sophomoric letter that a 16-year-old could write. And somehow if you write a letter to a world leader, that's a deal that is in place. 90 deals in 90 days. How many deals have been made? Andrew Clyde, you scumbag, you. That's what you are. You right-wing scumbag, fake Christian piece of pile of garbage is what you are. Only a pile of garbage like Andrew Clyde would wear an AR-15 pin on the House floor days after a school shooting when a bunch of 8- and 9-year-olds are shot and killed. What's your name? Andrew Clyde did that because he's a scumbag and he cares more about his sales in his gun stores than innocent children that are being shot dead in schools. Welcome to the MAGA Republican Party, ladies and gentlemen, a bunch of scumbags. I do want to go to the phone lines now. Before I do that, I want to tell everybody that the portion of this program is brought to you by the official gaming bar of the Pushing the Limits radio show. Of course, I'm talking about Jackson's Bar and Grill. Every Wednesday and Saturday, when you earn 500 points you have an opportunity to get a scratch-off card. With those scratch-off cards, you have an opportunity to win up to $50 in free slot play Wednesdays and Saturdays. Check it out. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Time to get to the phone lines, and I want to welcome everybody from the Really American Network, by the way. This is only the 4th day that I've been on this network. Today's Thursday, right? We have some big news with the Really American Network that we're going to be starting next week, but it's really an exciting time because right now we're on their YouTube page. They have 600,000 subscribers. We're on their Facebook page. They have over 1 million. So it gives us a larger audience, and it gets us the opportunity to team up with a wonderful group of people. I've spoken to the CEO, and they're just awesome. And they're happy to have me, and trust me, I'm just as happy to be collaborating with them. So thank you to everybody at the Really American Network for expanding this show. And we have some more news next week about expansion. I told you guys this was around the corner. These things take a little while, but I'm very appreciative to all of you, the listeners, because without all of you, I wouldn't be here. So thank you very much. We will get to the YouTube Super Chat in a moment. Remember, your questions and comments will be heard in the YouTube Super Chat with a small donation. You could also go to pushingthelimits.live where you can make donations there. It doesn't matter what it is, $5, $10, $20 a month. You help support independent media like myself. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's start off with Peter. Peter is first up on PTL. What's going on, Peter?
Hey, Brian. Really appreciate you when you have Adam on. He's great.
He is. I love Adam. He's awesome.
Do you know who Dean Withers is?
I do. I met Dean, actually. I'll give you the quick story. So Parker and Dean do a great job on social media, and very similar to Adam Mockler. Adam has a little bit of a different style. But so I'm at a Trump rally back in June, not this year, but last year. So Parker comes up to me, and I think he recognizes me from my show, and we start talking a little bit. And we did a video that went viral because I just started blasting some of these Trump supporters. I think if you type in my name on his YouTube page, you'll see the video that I'm talking about. And that was the first time I met both of them. They're really awesome. I'm working on getting them on the show. So I can promise you they'll be on the show soon. We've been in contact. And I want to get them on a regular basis, just like Adam Mockler and the guys from Midas Touch and everybody else. So I want them to be a part of the normal guests here. So I like them both very much, and we're working on getting them on the show.
Yeah, besides your show, I think Parker and Dean are really the other two that I pay attention to on a daily basis. And I was just curious. That's awesome to hear that you've met both of them and that you're working on that.
Yeah, in Vegas.
I sent an email.
I met them in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I sent an email back on the 9th with that suggestion to you guys.
Yep,
so hopefully
we're working
that
on
does
it.
Come to fruition. That's awesome.
We listen to all your suggestions, and we obviously try best we can to get and we're also hopefully going to get Destiny on the show too, by the way. So some more very popular people that are going to be joining us among the great Rolodex that we already have, my friend. And I appreciate that suggestion, and I appreciate you calling in. Keep up these suggestions, and we will continue to look at all of them, and I appreciate you. 702-221-7283. Again, that number 702-221-SAVE. I want to get Brian Tyler Cohen on the show, too. We're working on him. David Packman had to reschedule. Most likely he's going to be joining us on the show next week. Let's go to Mary. Mary is next up on PTL. Hey, Mary, what's going on?
I thought it was super interesting that Trump really lifted his lid and shut down the conversation in questioning when one of the reporters asked if Epstein was a foreign agent. And I thought that was really interesting. And then one of the things that's super kind of like Russia and some of those other countries, Mossad, they often use video blackmail to control people.
Yep.
And all of these Republicans that are going along with Trump and don't release these videos, he probably has video. Trump has video on these people.
Well, speaking of video, I want to ask you something. What do you make of the Epstein video that they released, which is not only missing 1 minute, but now missing about 3 minutes of footage? What do you make of that?
Oh, clearly, come on. That's how he got rid of Epstein, because he needs this to die.
Yeah.
I mean, if Trump's not a foreign agent along with Epstein, and that's where they were collecting all the blackmail videos to, control who they need to in the Republican Party.
Midas Touch has a story out. I don't know if you've read it. I do want to ask Ron Filipowski about this when he joins us again next week. Midas Touch has a story out where apparently there was sex trafficking going on at Mar-a-Lago. Jeffrey Epstein was involved, and I would assume that Donald Trump had to know about it, allegedly. So Midas Touch has that story out.
Why do you think he invites people down there? It's like part of the trap. Mm-hmm. And then like those guys that he those sex traffickers that are now like online all the time, besides not just Charlie Kirk, but all those other misogynists. I mean, they're all like those. I forget not Ramirez. What's the name of those guys that are like so
Turning Point?
Just
yeah. Well, I have some good news for you, Mary. And by the way, thank you so much for the phone call. The group that is anti-Turning Point, same age range, they go around the country combating Charlie Kirk. They're called the Un-F America, and they're doing a tour. And the two organizers of that group, and again, Destiny's a part of that group. Robbie Roadsteamer, who's going to be joining us on the show again tomorrow, part of that group. The organizers of that group will be joining us in studio tomorrow, so you're certainly going to want to hear that. And I appreciate your call. Just to reset things here real quickly before we take some more phone calls, we are talking about the latest fallout with the Jeffrey Epstein files, with the Trump administration. It appears as though Donald Trump will not be recommending a special prosecutor. We learned that today from Caroline the Lying Bitch Levette. We also learned that the Trump administration is lying about releasing materials. Caroline Levette said a judge would have to approve it. That's a lie. The Attorney General and the President can unseal any of those materials requested. So Caroline Levette looked probably more nervous today than maybe the first date she had with her Crypt Keeper husband that's like 50 years older than her. 702-221-7283, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Frank. Frank is next up on PTL. Hey, Frank, what's going on?
Brian, how you doing?
Good.
When you asked about Trump's leg or his hand that blew up,
yeah,
he has neuropathy.
Yeah.
Which is... Oh, I just got over mine under control.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you call your receptors are clogging, and you swell up. You can end up getting blood clots real easy and killing you.
So here's what I'll say to that. I'm not a doctor. I think a lot of what you said is correct. What we do know is the only reason why they released this stuff is because the picture was released. If the picture wasn't released of his hand, then they wouldn't be talking about it. And MAGA idiots want to say, oh, look at how transparent they are about his health. Then why don't you release all of his health records? Remember when he went to Walter Reed when he was president first go around, and they never released any information on what happened? For all we know, he could have had a heart attack. We don't know.
Yeah. And did you see that the Democrats walked out on the emo bully today for him to be a judge? They walked out.
Say that one more time for me.
Did you hear that the Democrats walked out of their meeting for Neil Mosley's?
Yes. I got you. Yeah, I did hear that. By the way. And quite frankly, I don't blame them for doing so. Frank, I appreciate your phone call, my friend. You have a good weekend. Yeah, well, unless you call back again tomorrow, which you're welcome to. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Teresa. Teresa is next up on PTL. Hey, Teresa.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Hey, good. What's on your mind?
Good. I'm a Canadian, and I'm proud to be a Canadian, and I'm sure many Americans are really proud to be Americans as well.
Amen.
But Trump is... Well, besides being a bully, I thoroughly believe he left the G7 in The Hague because nobody was going to be stroking his ego. Mm-hmm. He's nothing but a bully.
Yeah.
And I thought when the tariffs came in for a while there, I was pretty worried under Trudeau and under Paul Revere and even Carney because I really wasn't familiar with him.
I could also make a horrible joke because I'm very sophomoric and immature at times and say, trust me, Melania hasn't been stroking anything for many years. But I would never make a joke like that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. But I'm really happy with Carney. I think he expected Canada to capitulate and just do whatever he said. And unfortunately, it's going to hurt a lot of people, but the people it's going to hurt the most is the Americans.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, isn't that what's so sad about this? When it comes to the tariffs and American consumers, these MAGA buffoons are so stupid, my dear. They don't even understand that they're the ones that are paying the price for these tariffs. It's the American consumers that are paying for it. And the Trump administration is gloating about this. They're so stupid.
I agree with that, and I've seen on the Midas Touch, I've seen Parker trying to explain this to them, and they're just not getting it. And I'm thinking, like, what's it going to take for you to realize that you're going to be paying $15 for a dozen of eggs?
Yeah, that's true.
Or maybe more. And as far as the Epstein files go, he's all over it. And if anybody
can anybody give me any reasonable explanation as to his behavior over the last week?
No.
Doesn't even want to talk about it, not releasing it. Why are people talking about this? Give me one reasonable explanation from any MAGA Republican out there that could explain why he's been behaving like this, other than the fact of what you just said, that he's all over the files.
And he's all over it. And if anybody thinks that Melania doesn't know anything about this, and she's not, she's a lot of things, but deaf, dumb, blind, and stupid is not one of them.
Yeah, well, you're right about that, my dear. Hey, I love my Canadian callers. In fact, I think like 25% of the people that subscribe to my YouTube page are from Canada. I love you guys, and I support you guys. And I'm sorry that you guys even have to deal at all with this orange orangutan, 34-count felon adjudicated rapist they call Donald Trump. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. We're asking you, of course, more Epstein fallout and Caroline Levette's lies at this press conference today. We're just was it just me, or did Caroline Levette look really, really nervous today? She looked a little bit disheveled. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next up on PTL. What's up, Mark?
Hey, Brian. I have a comment and a question for you.
Okay.
My comment is, did you hear Trump on national TV state that he's asking all red states to gerrymander their states even more, just redistrict all lines, and the crippled governor of Texas stated that's going to be first on our next agenda, is they're going to redistrict all lines to gerrymander it even more.
I did hear that, and it does not surprise me.
My question to you, though, is I gave up all hope on Schumer. I think he's a moron. He's an anchor. Just like right now, Joe Biden will be an anchor if he keeps coming out talking about the auto pen and everything else. They need to just leave, retire, and go somewhere into the old folks' home and have a good rest of their lives. But my question to you is, Brian, what will it take? I mean, the Republicans have given the Democrats a nuclear bomb. What will it take for them to hold press conferences and scream and yell about the Epstein files, and every day just keep blasting it, and they sit there with their hands over their mouths, quiet like mouses? What will it take for them to say something?
New leadership. You need new leadership. And listen, all due respect to Hakeem Jeffries, I don't think he's a bad guy. You need new leadership. I think that's, Mark, that's the best explanation that I can give. The Democrat Party, they need some younger leadership. They need some newer leadership. You got to get Chuck Schumer out of there. And we need more, Jasmine Crockett's. We need more AOCs. Do you see how Donald Trump is always mentioning, women of color as he sees as a threat? And MAGA Republicans always want to personally attack Jasmine Crockett and AOC because they're afraid of them, because they are powerful, intelligent women of color. Republicans, that's their kryptonite, or people of color in general. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's see here. Why don't we go to Barry? Barry is next up on PTL. What's going on, Barry?
Yeah, hello, Brian. Just want to mention something on the gambling bill.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a good thing?
You think it's a good thing that if somebody walks into a casino and breaks even, that they would have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars in taxes?
Yeah, because that would incentivize them to quit gambling.
Do you? Where do you live, sir?
Indiana.
Indiana, okay. So that would ruin Las Vegas. I can tell you that right now. It would ruin casinos. It would ruin Las Vegas. I would also tell you that there's a lot of gamblers that would say that's absolutely insane and it's unfair. First of all, gambling is a choice, right? Nobody forces you to go into a casino, so that's number one. And I would respectfully disagree with you. If you walk into a casino and you win $5,000 on a slot machine and then you lose $5,000 on a blackjack table, why should you have to pay taxes on the $5,000 you won on a slot machine? Don't you think that's unfair?
Yeah, but do you know the statistics on families and families that are ripped apart from people that are addicted to gambling?
Well, that's called addiction, and that's a completely different topic. So are you saying if some people have a problem with gambling that we should abolish gambling altogether? So does that mean we should get rid of all food? So we should get rid of fast food then? We should get rid of cigarettes?
Yeah. And RFK Jr. is working on that right now.
He is. I see. So you think that we should – so this is interesting. I'm glad you brought this up. By the way, I think your gambling statements are absurd and ridiculous. If you break even, you shouldn't have to pay money on taxes. That's absurd. But let's go to the food.
Gambling.
Well, again, that's if you don't want to gamble, you don't have to gamble. Why do you tell other people what to do? Okay,
it's an addiction, sir. It's a disease.
Oh, I see. But what about food? Is that an addiction?
It is.
Okay, great. So when Barack Obama was president, and Michelle Obama was talking about what kids should or shouldn't eat, and she was changing school lunches, there were a lot of MAGA Republicans that seemed to have a problem with that. Were you one of them, sir? Or do you think Michelle Obama did a great job?
Who were the MAGA Republicans that were having an issue with that, sir?
I can play you the audio over and over. Rand Paul was one of them. There were other Republicans.
And what was the issue? What was the deal there?
The issue was, don't tell me what I can. Or Glenn Beck is another one. I've played the audio on this show before. Many of right-wing talking heads were very upset that Michelle Obama, you can't tell my kids what they can or can't eat. So are you willing to agree that Michelle Obama did some great things when she was the first lady and implemented school lunches and nutrition lunches? Are you willing to admit that Michelle Obama did some good things there?
I'm willing to admit that the first lady really has no authority in
okay, well then you're
whatsoever.
then you're an imbecile, because you could look at what Michelle Obama implemented and the policies of school lunch. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, and I could actually name you what she did, and I've talked about it on the show. You have absolutely.
Okay, what was she trying to implement in school lunches then,
First of all, it wasn't what she was trying to implement. If you could just take the MAGA wax out of your ears for a moment and just listen. She actually did implement and help facilitate several bills in healthy lunches for schools and helping kids that are underprivileged get free school lunch. If you don't believe me, and I don't care whether you believe me or not, you could look it up for yourself, because I've talked about this before, and it's not my fault that you don't know what you're talking about. So now what are you saying?
Who voted against
Hold
that,
on a second. I didn't say people
go to Congress?
I didn't say people voted against it, dummy. Why don't you listen to what I'm saying? I'm saying MAGA Republicans, many Republicans, and people like Glenn Beck had a problem with what she did, and now they're hypocrites. Now you talked about
Congress,
why don't
sir.
you be quiet and listen now, okay? You're talking about addiction, and you're saying, which is, by the way, the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, that if you walk into a casino in the same day and win $2,000 and then you lose $2,000, that you should have to pay taxes, which is absurd.
Yeah, you shouldn't even gamble.
Okay,
you shouldn't even be walking in there.
Guess what?
Do you know
you
Las
should.
Vegas was
Guess
built
what?
On the,
Guess what?
From the mafia.
Guess what? Guess what?
It was built on illegal activity.
Okay, so because you don't like gambling, you want to tell everybody else in this country that they shouldn't be allowed to gamble. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
sir?
Because they'll save more money.
Gotcha. Okay.
They'll have more money. Trust me.
Yeah. How about all the people that work in the casino industry? How about
they lose more? That's why Las Vegas is so big, because the consumer loses, the casinos they gain.
Okay.
So
if big companies are making huge profits, you have a problem with that. Is that what you're saying?
When they're not contributing to the people that need food,
Gotcha.
to the
Gotcha. Okay, so you
to
care
the
about.
homeless.
Okay, hold on.
Look at Las Vegas.
No. Hold on. Let's have a conversation about this. You want people to contribute to the needy and the homeless. I think that's very fair, sir. I agree with you. So would you be against the big and beautiful bill then taking $10 billion away from food stamps and people that need food to survive? Since you seem to be so concerned about the homeless, which I am as well, I think that's a very good thing. And you want people to not be food insecure. I think that's a great thing. So would you agree with me then taking many of Americans off of food stamps and cutting food stamps by $10 billion will hurt people that need it desperately? Would you agree with me there, sir?
I would agree that the majority of people that have food stamps are lazy.
You're an idiot. Then you're an idiot. Then you're an idiot. Then you're an idiot. And I'll prove it to you right now. You have no idea what you're talking about. First of all, 30% of people that work in this country aren't even offered health care benefits. Half of them can't even afford their benefits. So for
Make more money.
So for
Make
you to,
more money.
Well, then
Get
you're
a second job.
Okay, first of all, don't swear on this show, jackass. Okay.
I didn't swear.
That's number
I said
one.
get a second job.
Number two, for you to say get a second job for people in this country that already have
Get a
second
third job. I
because
make money
why don't
playing
you
games
shut up?
online. You can make money.
Pod this jackass down because he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. Hey, dumbass. There are already tons of people in this country working second and third jobs with household incomes that are under $50,000 a year. They desperately need those benefits to survive. Are you that stupid that you don't even understand that there are millions of people in this country that are actually working 2 jobs or more that are not lazy, that are working? Are you that stupid that you don't even know that 3 out of 10 people that work in this country are not offered benefits? You're so stupid you don't even know that. You think people are just lazy, people that are struggling, dummy? I think you're the one probably that's lazy. You're the one that's clearly ill-informed and you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So you don't think anybody should be on welfare, anybody should be on food stamps, anybody should be on unemployment benefits, but you seem to care so much at the start of this phone call. You seem to be so compassionate and you just care about people. So which is it, sir? Tell me, which is it? Do you care about people?
I care about America, and I care about the people that are doing the right thing and telling the truth. But with you just ripping,
you care about people that are telling the truth. So you think Donald Trump is telling the truth about the 2020 election? You think Donald Trump is telling the truth about the Epstein? Guess what? He's the president of the United States. I just said it because I just said it because he's the president of the United States. But you never seem to want to criticize him. But you think because some people have a gambling problem that gambling should be abolished. Guess what? There's a lot of people that have a lot of problems in society, but that doesn't mean you abolish things.
Just like the disgusting
some people. Hey, dummy.
Eating.
Hey, dummy. I'm done with your stupid ideas. Hold on. Hey, dummy. A lot of people that smoke marijuana, it helps them. It helps them with their pain. It helps them for cancer patients. But there are a percentage of people that abuse marijuana. There are a percentage of people that smoke marijuana every day too much, not for health benefits. So, dummy, does that mean that we should get rid of marijuana? Should marijuana be illegal everywhere?
You said that marijuana causes cancer?
Are you that stupid? Will you listen, dummy? Okay, I said there's a lot of people that smoke marijuana because it helps them with their cancer. It helps them with pain. So there are people in this country that smoke way too much marijuana and they're addicted to it. So does that mean we should ban marijuana? Because according by your logic, we should ban gambling.
They're addicted, but what is that determine in their life? Are they losing their house? Are they losing their marriage when they're addicted? No, gambling causes all those issues.
So you're telling me that people that are addicted to drugs, they don't lose their house and it doesn't affect their family situations? Is that what you're claiming on the show?
Yeah, drugs.
Okay,
like
so
heroin,
hey, dummy,
pills,
hey, dummy,
illegal drugs.
hey, dummy, what's marijuana? Is marijuana a drug?
It's legal in Nevada.
And is gambling? And is hey, dummy, is gambling legal in Nevada?
Yeah, but
wait. Okay, hold on. So by your own dumb logic, idiot, if it's legal in Nevada, it's okay. Gambling is legal in Nevada, you dope. So I'm making the case that marijuana is legal, right? There are people that smoke too much marijuana. Sometimes it could ruin their family life. Sometimes they could lose their house. It's a drug. Gambling is legal as well. So tell me what the difference is. I know people that smoke marijuana.
The difference is marijuana doesn't destroy families. It doesn't destroy homes.
Well, guess what? You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about because marijuana is a drug, and there are absolutely certain situations where marijuana has absolutely done that. What about alcohol? Should we ban alcohol? Has alcohol ruined families?
They already tried to ban alcohol. It's called
No. Excuse me. Alcohol has not been banned. It's 21 and over. So going by your standard, I think we all could agree there's a lot of alcoholics in society. And if you're an alcoholic, chances are it could ruin your family life. You could lose your home. I know, and many of us in society know people who are alcoholics. So should we ban alcohol?
Underground.
Should we ban alcohol? Yes or no?
It doesn't matter if
It doesn't
you're going to
matter.
ban it or no.
What's the difference between alcohol 21 and over and gambling 21 and over? You have gamblers.
Well, because
go ahead.
When you drive drunk, you can literally
not talking
drive
about
on the other side of the
not
road.
talking about driving drunk. I'm talking about people who don't drive drunk but that are alcoholics, and it could ruin their family situation. You could lose their home.
Well, if you don't ban alcohol, then they won't be driving drunk.
So I'm asking, so you think we should ban alcohol in this country as well?
If it makes the healthier human being healthier, then yes, ban it.
Got you. So we shouldn't have bubble gum. We shouldn't have soda. We shouldn't have candy. We shouldn't have ice cream.
No,
Okay.
because it's destroying the human body.
Let me tell you something. Here's something that I don't think we should have. People like you in society. Have a nice day, idiot. So according to that guy, if he thinks something is unhealthy for you, we shouldn't have it. It should be banned. Okay. It's a great take, idiot. See, I tried to get him. Because he's saying that you shouldn't gamble because there's a percentage of people that are compulsive gamblers. And then all of a sudden when I bring up marijuana, no, somehow he doesn't think marijuana is a drug, which obviously it is. And then when I bring up alcohol, he goes into drunk driving, and then he gets down to the basis of his argument, which is the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life, which is if anything is unhealthy for you in any way, shape, or form, we should ban it. So there's a lot of car accidents in society. Does that mean we should ban cars? There are plane crashes that happen in society. Should we ban planes? I mean, it's the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life. But again, this is the Donald Trump MAGA base. There's some of the dumbest people on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's go to Jessica. Jessica's next on PTL. What's up, Jessica?
Hey, so I was sitting here listening to that guy's argument, and he said something, and I was just like, nope, I got to say something. First off, I live in the middle of the country. I live in Iowa. 37. I have a disability. And there's people that I know that are also disabled. It can affect you at any age. This happened to me at 29 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I was on food stamps for quite a while. I ain't lazy. I physically cannot work. I mean, there's so many things that this guy said that just really set me off. And I had to say something.
Well, he's very stupid. He's obviously a very stupid person. I mean, I really don't know what else to say than that. He's obviously very dumb. I mean, you can't have a serious conversation with some of these jackasses that call in here. I mean, if they want to have a legitimate conversation. Notice how I bring up Michelle Obama and he plays dumb. Remember when Michelle Obama put into these school lunches and free lunches and healthy lunches for kids?
Yeah.
And by the way, I thought that was a great thing, and I have a lot of respect for Michelle Obama. And remember all these MAGA Republicans out there that were so angry. Michelle's not going to tell me what I can feed my son. But that was terrible back then. But now all of a sudden, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the insane tinfoil hat jackass, just ban anything that has any form of sugar in it at all. I mean, it's just like the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's all kinds of things out there that are bad for you. I mean, my dad was an alcoholic. He was a drug addict. That's a choice. That does not mean that I'm going to do the same thing. I also use medical marijuana because I have chronic pain. I'm a left below-knee amputee.
Mm-hmm.
It helps. Trust me, it helps.
Oh, I know that.
Wish
But do you notice, my dear,
Iowa would legalize it.
Do you notice, my dear, that this guy wants to ban gambling, but yet he won't talk about guns? And MAGA Republicans won't talk about gun control and children that are being gunned down in schools, and some of the most gun violence we have in any other country in the world is here. But notice how they never want to talk about guns, but they're talking about, banning, I don't know, soda. I mean, it's some of the dumbest people that America has to offer. I don't even know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean, the level of stupidity is off the charts. I don't even think you can measure it.
At this point,
so totally with you.
So am I. I'm with you too, my dear, and I wish you the best with health. At this point, if you still support Donald Trump 100% and you think he's doing a great job, then you are just a complete jackass. I really don't know what else to say. Let's see here. Let's go to Julie. Julie's next on PTL. Hey, Julie, what's going on?
Hey, that caller that said that people trying to get food stamps are lazy, he's a liar, because I'm working and I'm still having issues getting food on the table.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disabled. I can only work a certain amount of hours.
Yeah.
So apparently I'm too lazy to get a second job, even though I'm regulated, which is actually a good thing because getting out in this heat makes an issue for my heart. So the regulation helps in a way. That dude is a complete idiot.
He is, and that's the way these MAGA Republicans think. If you're a female who wants contraceptives covered under health care, somehow Rush Limbaugh calls you a whore. If you're a powerful woman who's intelligent, who works your way through school, they'll mock you for being a bartender. That's the way these MAGA Republicans think. If it doesn't affect me, a perfect example is Joe Biden with the student debt consolidation. A lot of the same people that were against what Joe Biden was doing were the same people who took those PPE loans during COVID that never had to pay those loans back for their businesses because they're selfish bastards is what they are. They don't care about anybody else but themselves, my dear. Well, guess what? That's not the way I think. Whether you have an R or a D next to your name, I want everyone taken care of in this country. Healthcare should not be a privilege. It should be a right. And you MAGA buffoons out there have no problem with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wanting to take away soda or other things. But when Michelle Obama puts some great initiatives in place to help children with school lunch, then you have a problem with it. God forbid a beautiful and intelligent black woman does something great for society. They have a problem with that. But if Robert F. Kennedy Jr., another orange orangutan tinfoil hat, cheating moron abuser, does something, they're totally okay with that. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Tommy. Tommy is next up on PTL. Hello, Tommy.
Brian. Let me tell you something, man. I've got a brother who lives in Florida. He's a MAGA, right? And from time to time, I'll still talk to him. He'll text me, and he tells me yesterday, apparently this is their new spin, that Donald Trump has been paid off. That's the reason why he hasn't released the Epstein files.
Could be possible. I wouldn't put it past it. These are
the same. But these are the same people that said he was so rich he didn't need any money. He had,
Well, he wouldn't be selling Bibles then, would he? He wouldn't have a crypto scandal. He wouldn't be selling Trump trading cards and gold sneakers. But listen, it's either one of two scenarios, right, my friend? And you could tell me whether you disagree or not. It's either what you just said, where he's been paid off large sums of money, or he's in the Epstein files, or maybe both. That's it.
I think both, Brian, to be honest with you. It was funny because after I had gotten done talking to him a text, he goes, Tommy, wake up, man.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, I need to wake up. You're the one putting yourself in the pretzels trying to make every excuse for this guy. I told him Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles could both see that he's in the Epstein files.
Not only that, but he was also paid off for pardons. We know that they sold pardons. We know that Donald Trump gave pardons to people and his family was enriched off of it. We know that. So it wouldn't put it past him. I certainly don't disagree with you. That certainly could be a part of this as well. Money could be played a big role in this because we know that, whoever is on this list, I would imagine most of these people have a lot of money. So that wouldn't surprise me one bit. And Donald Trump doesn't care whether you're a Democrat or Republican. All he cares about is making money and taking advantage of his stupid supporters. Yeah, he called you all stupid yesterday, by the way, because you are. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Jarvis. Jarvis is next up on PTL. Hey, Jarvis, what's going on?
What's going on, Brian? Long-time listener.
Thank you.
But these people are so stupid. But I have a few things. The first one, did you hear about Maureen Comey getting fired, the prosecutor that prosecute the Epstein whole case?
So I'm glad you brought that up. Interesting and convenient timing, isn't it, Jarvis?
Right. And it's so funny that these people on the right, they're so conspiratorial, right? They always have, circumstantial evidence. Well, having evidence. And I also want to talk to you about the Epstein files real quick, so I'm going to be quick with this.
Okay, hold on. I'll give you the chance. But can let's just stick with this topic for a second, this prosecutor. Right. So this is a prosecutor who has a long history and a really good record and appears to me to be a pretty good attorney. The excuse that they're making is because she was presiding over the P. Diddy trial, she got some convictions, but not as many that I think a lot of people would have wanted. They're making that excuse. Make no mistake about it. It is not a coincidence that they have fired her the same week as this Epstein scandal, or whatever you want to call it, has come out. This is very convenient that the same week that Donald Trump wants none of us to be talking about Jeffrey Epstein, calls the base of his supporters stupid idiots that were conned by the Democrats, and then they fired this prosecutor. Anybody could connect the dots together and figure out why they're doing this. It's a huge cover-up.
Absolutely. And where are the conspiratorial people at, right? Oh, why did he get fired at the same time? Why is Trump flying on the plane 6 times? Why is he pictures with him multiple times? Why is 30 women accused? These are all circumstantial evidence. You're like, that's questionable. Maybe we should look into it. Any intelligent man would even think that, right? I mean, I'm not too far-fetched here about that, but I want to go to the Epstein files real quick.
Sure.
I mean, do we know for a fact that there are a list, like an Epstein list? I mean, is this something that's being hidden? Do we know for a fact?
So here's my answer to that.
On that.
So here's what I've heard, and here's what people that are close to this situation have said. There might not be an actual list, but there are a lot of names. There's not an actual black book list, most likely not. Well, but there are a lot of names that you can comprise a list. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, totally. Yeah. And in the trial with Ghislaine, Maxwell, there's a black book out. It's evidence. You can go look on the internet. There's a black book out, and it has lists and names and numbers in there, and it has Trump's name in there, and it has about all his contacts, where he lives, a whole bunch of phone numbers. So there is that out, and it's all evidence, and you can go look at it.
Maxwell is asking for another trial. Her attorneys are coddling Donald Trump because they want him to give her a pardon. If somehow legitimate members of the FBI could work out some sort of... Now, I'm not saying Maxwell deserves to be... I hope she spends every day for the rest of her life in prison, because we all know she helped facilitated children being molested. She's an animal. I mean, if she got the electric chair... But you have to comprise some sort of deal with her so that these names are released and more information is put out there. The problem with that is right now Donald Trump is the president of the United States. So what he's probably going to do, in my personal opinion, it might happen his last day in office, as I think he's going to give her a pardon. That's what I think.
So disgusting. It's so obvious what's going on. And it's like, if you weren't in there, and if the Democrats really did know about this, which they didn't, we didn't run on it. We weren't talking about this weirdo stuff. But if we really did know what was in there, we would release it, even if it had Democrats on there. That's the difference between the Republicans and Democrats.
I agree.
We would release that. We don't care. We don't care. If you're bad, you're bad.
I agree. So, and every Democrat, my friend, is now agreeing with a lot of these MAGA Republicans. Release the files. Release the files. We don't care whether they're Republicans or Democrats. Release the files. Donald Trump won't release the files because clearly he has something to hide. The same reason why he didn't release his tax returns, the same reason why he won't release his health records in full. Let's go to Darlene, the MAGA destroyer. It's not a show without Darlene. What's going on, Darlene?
Oh, my God. Brian. Hey, dude. I want you to know I'm sitting here smoking my medical marijuana because I hurt. So what are you going to do about it? Brian, I am so sick of these damn MAGAs trying to run our lives. That's all they want to do is run our lives. And the only transparency that the Republican MAGAs are showing us is what idiots and liars they are. They have showed us that.
The guy calls in and he says we should ban gambling because there's some compulsive gamblers. Does that mean we should ban alcohol and ban cars because of car accidents? Does that mean we should ban soda? I mean, you can't ban every single thing my producer loves Dr. Pepper. I don't think he wants by the way, I like Dr. Pepper as well. I don't think we should ban everything and anything, that might not be the greatest for you. What are we going to eat every day? Just salad every day? Is that what we're going to eat? Salad and water? I mean, you could find something bad in everything that we put in our bodies, right? I mean, just ask Melania Trump. She did that at one time. I'm sorry. That was a terrible joke.
Brian, real quick. It's amazing how, let's tax the slot machines, even if you don't win or whatever, but God forbid, let's don't tax the 1% of rich people. Let's give them the tax breaks, but let's put taxes on us. I'm sick of it.
I am too.
And you guys, no violence, But we have to stand up.
You know what we need to cure, Darlene?
Stand up, but you damn right I will.
I hear you, Darlene, and I appreciate you. I'll tell you what we need to cure. We need to cure the MAGA herpes. There's too many people in this country that have the MAGA herpes. They keep scratching it. It won't go away. We need it. We need a cure for the MAGA herpes. Let's go to Nicole. Nicole is next up on PTL. Hey, Nicole, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. Forgive me, I'm not too well educated on politics, so you might have to teach me a thing or two. But on this big, beautiful, horrific bill that they passed through, do you think that was a chess move for the Republicans to remain in power? Maybe I'm not getting it. Something about the rich don't have to pay taxes because of this bill. Do you think that's what's going on? I'm going to simplify it. I don't think that was what it was here. I think it's pretty simple. It's Donald Trump and the higher-ups and the people, billionaire friends that Donald Trump is close with. This was the biggest tax breaks for the top 1% in American history. I think there are a lot of I know. A lot of Republicans that are in office that knew this is a really bad bill. They knew it would hurt their constituents. They knew that over 15 million people would lose their Medicaid benefits and food stamps. They knew it. But the reason why so many of them voted for this bill is because they're afraid. They're afraid of Donald Trump because Donald Trump has hijacked the Republican Party. And if they vote against this bill, they're going to be outed from office. That's what this came down to. Most reasonable people behind closed doors, even if they're Republicans, would tell you this is a bad bill for the American people. They also know that these tariffs are bad for the American consumer because we are the ones paying for it. They are the first ones that would tell you that behind closed doors. But they will never say it publicly because they are afraid of Donald Trump and they don't want to lose their jobs. So I don't think it was anything other than the fact of Donald Trump and many of his rich friends benefiting off this bill, while 99% of the American people are going to hurt because of this big, beautiful bill. Well said. I get it. Makes sense now.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Thanks for all you do, Brian.
Thank you. I appreciate your call. And speaking of the big, beautiful bill, somebody who's done this show before, he's a casino owner here. And I'd love to get him on the show to talk a little bit about this. His name is Derek Stevens. He's from Detroit. I think it's fair to say he's a billionaire. And I appreciate Derek Stevens putting out a statement because I'd like to get him on the show next week to talk a little bit about this. Derek Stevens just said, the big, beautiful bill will hurt Las Vegas resorts and cost local jobs. He says this affects everyone in Las Vegas because this will impact jobs. This impacts visitation, tourism. It's an important thing that just needs to be connected. Thank you, Derek Stevens. Now, I already like Derek Stevens. I've had him on the show before. He's a good guy. He's the owner of Circa, a beautiful casino in downtown Las Vegas, and several other casinos. Thank you, Derek Stevens. There is a man with a lot of money who has some dignity. There is a man with a lot of money who knows Donald Trump's tax breaks will probably help him, but in the long run, it'll probably hurt him because it hurts tourism. Thank you, Derek Stevens, for speaking up and speaking out. I have a lot of respect for him for doing that. And we will try to get Derek Stevens on the program. I want to go to the YouTube Super Chat, if I may. And I'm sorry I forgot to do it earlier. Chicago Rob says, been saying since day one the reason GOP kissed Trump's rear end is when Putin hacked DNC. He gave Trump all the dirt on Republicans. Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons why Donald Trump kisses Vladdy's ass, and I think that's probably one main reason for that. I would tend to agree with you. I'm really... Well, let's go to LVZ, no buck dancing allowed talk. Says, I don't care about civil rights, don't care about kids having health care, food. I don't care about education, but I won't stand for Epstein's behavior. This is the mind of a MAGA buffoon. You're right, LVZ. It's a very poignant remark that you made, and I agree with you. This is the way these MAGA Republicans are. It's like now all of a sudden you don't believe Donald Trump. Now all of a sudden you think he's a liar. Now all of a sudden you don't think he's going to own up to his campaign promises because he won't release the Epstein files. Where the hell have you been the last 8-9 years? Where have you been? So, ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorites joining us on the show. He's a fan favorite of PTL. Robbie Roadsteamer is going to be joining us, the MAGA prankster. The people from the Un-F America tour are also going to be joining us in studio tomorrow. So you're definitely not going to want to miss that. Nicole Mitchell's going to be joining us. So we got a jam-packed show lined up for you tomorrow. Listen, this is an independently owned radio show. So because this is an independently owned show, we rely on people like you. We're independent media. What can you do? Besides going in the YouTube Super Chat, besides subscribing to my YouTube page, at PTL Radio Show, go to my website, pushingthelimits.live. That's pushingthelimits.live. We sell merchandise on there. You could also make, donations, $5, $10, $20 a month. That's really all we ask, whatever you can afford, and it keeps us going here. It keeps the lights on, keeps us doing what we're doing. So please do that and keep supporting what we do here. Big show lined up for you tomorrow. I mentioned that, and thank you to Really American Network. We just joined their network this week. It's been phenomenal collaboration with them, and we're going to do more stuff with them next week, which we'll be talking to you about. You're not going to want to miss Robbie the Road Steamer. He starts the show tomorrow, everybody. Everybody, have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super hero, that is, because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food.